Hey everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel, and I'm so happy to have you here. On this show, we bring in experts from all across the wedding industry to talk about every specific service so you can be well armed going into your big day. My name is Daniel Krikorian, and before we get right into the show, I want to tell you about Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding. Everything from photo, video, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and more. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com or give us a call at 508-625-7142. We're always happy to talk to you with one of our amazing wedding specialists who can build a custom package for your big day with all of these services. And if you need just an individual service, we're always available as well. So go to BeRememberedWeddings.com to check out our portfolio, send us an inquiry, or even email us at info@BeRememberedWeddings.com. Now, I have a very special guest for me today. I have Keith Berube. Berube.
No corrections. We're all good.
From Mr. G's Tuxedos.
Yes.
Now, I had your wonderful wife on for last episode, and she is quite the character. We had a blast.
Yep.
But before we jumped on here, we were talking about how this whole name got started, and I find it to be extremely, tone that it started from her. Did it not?
It did. It did. Everything starts from her.
So tell us a little bit about where Mr. G's came from, because I was thinking it was your last name. I should have thought a little bit more thoroughly about that. But last name, first name, something of that nature. Nothing, huh?
Not a G in my name. Not even close. Yeah. No, it was good when Gigi first started 14 years ago. She was doing it by herself. I had a full-time job, and I would come in on weekends to help. So, during the time I'm puttering around and doing this, and some of her guests, would be around and say, "Oh, who are you?" I said, "Who's this guy hanging around this bridal shop with all these women?" So, I got the joke. I said, "Oh, just call me Mr. G." Keith and, Mr. Berube just didn't go, so just call me Mr. G. So that was easy to remember, and it was fun. And so when it comes time to mature the business, we decided to open up, have tuxedo rentals and suits, and have that as an extension of the bridal business.
Yeah.
So we're sitting down with a sales rep. He comes out, he explains everything. He says, "Great, let's go with it. We'll set up the business." And the first thing he says, "So, what's the name of the business?" So we were looking at one another, and just kind of scratching our head and go, "Let's just call it Mr. G's Tuxedos." So that's how it all came about.
There you go, right?
People say, "What's your name?" I said, "Keith," and what do you do? And they look in, they get my card. They says, "Where did Mr. G come from?" And it's like, so
it's a good conversation starter.
It is. It always is.
It's a whole marketing tactic right there. It's like when you spell the name wrong in the Starbucks cup. Make sure you remember.
Right.
Them and infamy, you and a little bit better attitude.
So now my wife doesn't even say, "Don't use your first name. Just say Mr. G." That way everybody remembers you.
There you go. So before Mr. G and the whole system came about because of Gigi, were you in fashion in any way, shape, or form?
Only that I liked it.
Only that you liked it.
So, being in the construction industry, you get pretty much the bare bones as far as fashion goes. But
right. Very utilitarian.
Yeah. But I was a khakis and a polo shirt, and some of the sales guys would come around and say, "You're the best looking construction manager around." So I was even dressing better than them. So, I guess, that was, a draw. And then when I started, doing this more, it was, coming from construction. And when Gigi got so busy, she needed, a managing partner.
Yes.
So I was able to replace my income at the time, with the tuxedos and custom suits and, other attire, as well as, save on what a business manager, would be. Right. In the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe how transferable skills I had. Go from, using a tape measure, or when you're building, and using, size, texture, color, to create, construction stuff. We can do that now with a person.
Huh.
So
I didn't think about that either. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. So I picked up on it because I know I like to wear things a certain way.
Yep.
So, almost like the way I cook the way I make it the way I like to eat.
Yeah.
So I also make the fashion the way I like to look. So, that's a very personal, comes from a personal space.
Yeah. Right. And it also makes it highly connected, to that customer, understanding what you want and tapping into that. I feel like, you're not disconnected. You know what they're looking for because you've looked for it, right? You do this all the time. You're very integrated with it. My major question, which has nothing to do with weddings at all, is how's it working with your wife?
It's ironically,
she's listening.
It's no, I mean, there's another inside joke about us. It says, we feel weird not being together.
Yeah.
We're just, you married your best friend.
Yep.
You feed off of one another. You inspire one another. So when you're not around that, you kind of miss that. So, to go from, being basically 6-7 years,
right.
Full time, to now, kind of being separated at different times.
Right.
It's another way to get used to, but it's also when we get together, it's enjoyable.
I'm just imagining this. Do you ever critique each other's attire?
Critiquing's probably not the right word to use, but it's also, she values my opinion and vice versa.
Yeah.
So we're either looking for, hey, is this right? This is a good combination, and where I say, like those shoes, she'll hold up a couple of options. And so, we're always going back. And a lot of times I'll pick out certain, styles for her.
Right.
If we go our separate ways in a store, I'll come back with 2 or 3 things. Oh, I like that. So, so there's again, a mutual understanding.
Yeah.
Of what we like. And
it's a great partnership.
Yeah.
Huh. No kidding.
Yep.
And so with Mr. G's, you do an assortment of formal wear?
What we have is we have a formal wear for rental. We also have formal wear for purchase, which some could be the same. We have, I also branch out into not just the traditional rental items. We also have a company that I work with that I can get the funky, crazy stuff that you see out there. Every now and then I'll come in with a request that I'm able to, through my resources, find something that will be like some crazy floral print or, something that has a velvet, texture to it. Something that's not mainstream.
Is that in right now?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later. Yeah. I can't get behind it. I don't know. So when the individual who customized this jacket for me, she was trying to get me to put some floral in there, and I was like, no, it's all right. Yeah. I was like, blue's fine.
Yeah. Well, you got to read the room.
Right. Honestly,
you got something for everybody.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Absolutely. So, but you do it for all different occasions too, correct? It's not like Gigi, who is, she eliminated bridesmaids dresses. She was telling me about. She's really just going after brides. Does she do prom? I forget if we talked about that.
No, we've eliminated prom as well.
You have as well? Yeah. So are you just focusing in on weddings, or you do an assortment?
Well, it would be special events or, anything that would require, some formal wear. Some, would be an elegant ball gown or, ball event or a fundraiser or, anything that's, New Year's Eve parties, and I get the same on my end too.
Yeah. And I do have a funny feeling that for men, a suit can be, or a tux can be kind of used in a plethora of different events, where a wedding dress is really a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. we have to replace that customer every time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you at least have repeat customers.
I do. Sometimes I do. Yeah.
That must be very nice. Yeah. I should have came for you for a tux. I was running around all over Natick trying to find one at one point. Yeah. An absolute pain. That's too funny. So, and you did say you see a lot of these trends kind of coming through right now. I do find that, one of the beautiful things about men's clothing that I find different than women's is you can do so much in the customization of it from the inside of the jacket. I mean, so much of that can be done versus a dress is what a dress is going to be, right? I mean, what are you going to do on the inside? Most people aren't going to see it.
Well, you'd be surprised. Gigi hasn't told you a couple of stories. We actually had some things sewn on the inside of the women's dresses, whether it be a saying or something that, a grandmother had passed on to her. And
that is lovely.
So put it on the front so it's near their heart.
Yeah.
So some of those things that are kind of, so you can kind of customize them and make them special too.
Do you do anything with men's clothing in terms of customization to make it special like that?
We can.
You can. Do you find that a lot or no?
No. You got to kind of lead the guys, in some directions.
Lead the horse to water.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about a monogram? No. What about this? How about your birthday somewhere? Or
right.
So they're kind of one dimensional.
Oh my God! And I feel like too, as soon as they're like, "Does that cost extra?" Well, yeah, I have to do extra. No, I'm all right. It's like, it will be nice. It will be your wife's, name or yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I find that, the people that really gravitate to the custom or, have that flamboyancy about that. And they're kind of educated enough so they want a little more than what they normally can get in a store. So, we have that as an offering too, whether it be contrasting threads or buttons or, monograms,
Right.
It can be done.
So when we get back, we're going to talk about all of the different selections that Mr. G's offers, Keith offers. So join us in just a few here on the Wonderful World of Weddings. We can't wait to have you back. In the meantime, as we go to this commercial break, why don't you go on your computer, type in www.berememberedweddings.com for photography, videography, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and more. Go to berememberedweddings.com. They are the sponsor of the show, and we can't wait to talk to you and be back here in just a few with Keith from Mr. G's. My name is Daniel, and this is the Wonderful World of Weddings, and we'll see you back here in just a few. Thanks, guys.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go, with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day, it's ours to take, and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. I am so happy to have you here. My name is Daniel Krikorian, and this show is brought to you by Be Remembered Weddings, where you can have a wonderful wedding experience. Please go to berememberedweddings.com for all things weddings, from photo, video, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, and more. We have it all at Be Remembered Weddings. And also, if we do not have what you're looking for, we now have a preferred vendors section. So please go to the website for all of your resources, from blogs to podcasts, this podcast in particular, to preferred vendors and even more. We are always looking to provide you with the utmost information for your big day. So we are actually going back to a wonderful conversation with Keith from Mr. G's Tuxedos here to talk all things formal wear.
Yes.
So before we left, we were talking about what you offer, and we're going to get into that a little bit more today. So it's called Mr. G's Tuxedos, but you're offering an assortment of formal wear?
Yes. We try to cater to everybody's needs. We've the typical traditional tuxedos, we have those for rental. That range from the traditional black all the way up to some new funky colors and styles that, all the kids like these days.
Yeah.
But, we also offer purchase. We can order purchase, suits for purchase, a tuxedo for purchase. We do some groups even. Some of the masons have come up to me and they need, an Elks, and when they get into their upper, I guess, I won't say management, but, whatever.
My father's a Freemason, actually.
Yeah. Get into the grand poopah stage, you get up there and,
they different degrees.
Yeah. And they wear them often. So, that's when I recommend purchasing, a tuxedo. But it's always nice to have something in your closet.
Yeah. And it's funny. I went to a formal event this winter, and they literally listed on their site, "Bring your most outrageous tuxedo." I was like, "What? Mine's black, and it will be black." I was like, "Not for me."
Well, you could come by. I got some shark skin tuxedos and some paisleys and some really good stuff.
Yeah. So outside of tuxedos, what else?
Sure. So, we have like I said, we have line of suits, those are all separates, we can mix and match. So, kind of when you go to a gentleman's store, it's either what they call nested. So your pant size is dictated by your jacket size.
Yep.
And a lot of times they don't correspond.
Yes.
So, now we have a program where we can get, any size pant with any size jacket, which has really been convenient. So, and then we also have the custom men's clothing.
Yep.
That's a very wide range of options. And that's where we get into either formal or even a golf attire, so we break it down even that low. So
and are you only using J. Hilburn for that?
traditionally for the custom with J.
Yeah.
Hilburn. Yeah.
Yeah, I love their clothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's top tier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I especially for the price, it's absolutely incredible too. And I mean, it's not a cheap, none of their clothing is what I consider cheap in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But they are also extremely high quality for what they are.
When you compare it to, kind of like a Brooks Brothers or, some of the higher end label brands, it's certainly a third of what you would pay there. Good quality. It's still the same, fabrics that come from Italy.
Yep.
They're still handmade products and they're still very, very durable. It's an investment, in yourself, in your fashion look, but it's also very, rewarding too, because you always get your attention.
Yes, it's definitely a different level when people look at you and they're like, "Where did you find that? What is that?" And then, I always love showing off the custom, stitching on the inside. My name in there. Very fun things.
It's all personalized.
Yeah. But it also fits a lot better too, and that's something where I'm in awkward shape apparently in the men's style size of things. So having a custom suit, I can actually move my arms properly, which is wonderful.
Oh, it is. And, I was a customer first before I became a rep, because I couldn't find anything off the rack.
Yeah.
So, I know and appreciate, how it feels. And it's, one of the things I counsel my customers is that, this is going to feel a lot different from what you ever felt before.
Right.
Because you've been wearing things that don't fit you.
Yeah.
So when you get something that does fit you, it's going to take a little while to get used to.
But you feel comfortable and you can actually, and I think it's amazing how much time you spend on feeling this tightness when you no longer have it. When you wear a suit that's not meant to fit you and then you wear the suit that does, you sit there and you are a lot more relaxed. I feel like you do have a sense of confidence because you don't feel like you're going to rip the suit anymore. So it's not something that's on your mind. It's actually rather bizarre.
And it's nice because we can adapt you to your fit preference. So, some of the older gentlemen don't like it fitting tight. So they want that loose kind of movement, free movement in their suit. Or you get some of the younger ones that want to have a second skin.
Yeah.
They want it real tight. They even want to show off their muscles through a coat jacket. I don't quite get that, but we can, if that's what they want, we can tailor it to them.
Right.
It really is flexible.
Yeah. What type of customization? So I'm assuming when you listed these different selections from Mr. G's, you were saying it in three different ways. You were saying the rental side, the purchase side, and the custom side. So are the purchase and custom two different things? Are you still tailoring on the purchase, and then the custom, you're actually building it from the top up?
So we don't do any alterations or tailoring.
Oh, you don't?
No, we don't.
Okay.
So there's a middle ground. So when we rent, the rental houses will alter the sleeves and the pant length.
Yep.
And we usually get the coat size and the pant size proper, and the shirts are pretty much universal based on their, neck and arm length. So there's not a lot of customization there. But when you purchase, basically the pants come unfinished, they call that.
Yes.
So you need to do a hem. That's simple anywhere. Anybody can do that anywhere.
Yeah.
Now on the coats, it's kind of a blend, because if you are a regular length, so that the sleeves come at a predetermined length based on the length of the coat. So a short coat comes with a 16-inch sleeve, a regular comes with 17-inch sleeve, and so forth. Now, if you don't fit quite into that ratio, you may have to take it in, or let it out a little bit on the sleeve.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep.
Yeah. I've always had to do long, and then they'd always have to trim it back just slightly.
I had a gentleman come in, he put on a regular coat, as my sample, and he goes, "What do you think of the sleeves?" I go, "Well, they're about 2 inches too long." He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "No, it should fit me. This is what I get off the rack." I go, "You've been wearing it wrong all this time, so whoever told you that, gave you bad information."
Yeah, honestly, right? I know, but I will tell you, no one has a clue. Men's clothing is because men just put it on and move on, right? I mean, they don't care. And so I don't think, no one expects a guy to go in and say, "Help me fit me properly." They expect him to go in and say, "That looks about right.
Yeah.
Throw it in the bag.
Yeah, try this on," and out they go. So,
Yeah.
it is an education, and that's kind of what I like, even with the young kids, and when they come in for their prom for the first time. First time they've ever seen themselves dressed up. It's either sweatpants or shorts or a T-shirt or hoodies.
Right.
So when they get in there,
Jeans is dressed up.
oh yeah, that's going to church attire. So when I come in and the first time they look at themselves in the mirror, they almost like can't stop looking. It's like, who is this guy? Because they've never seen himself like that before.
Right.
So, that's kind of my pride in helping them learn how to look their best.
Yeah.
And teach them even how to fold a pair of pants and put them on a hanger, because they've never done that before. Never had to. No one ever taught them.
You may have to teach me how to do that.
So I don't want the present company.
Just fold them. Anyways, but yes, no, absolutely. So the customized ones, you're going, and this is what I was amazed with, everything from buttons to stitching to inside, right? I mean, it can get a little crazy, can it not?
Well, it first starts off by measuring. There's over 20 measurements that we do to customize an outfit.
Yep.
From the pants, the shirt, short sleeve, short pants, the waist, collar, that's where it starts. And then we build, the product from there. And then the end is the fun stuff. You get the options. We work in buttons, color contrast threads. Right. You want monograms. Little lapel. I get my stitching on the lapel.
Yep.
It's a different color. So those are things that you can have fun with, and it is addicting. I get a couple of people come back and they're, well, let's do this and let's do that one. How about if we do those together? And so it's and then even with the polo shirts, there's options on polos. So it's just not. Contrast threads on the, fabric on the collar.
Yep.
You can piping and all kinds of, different things you can do with that.
Well, when we come back here, we're actually going to talk a little bit more about trends and advice, because you can go down a rabbit hole on these things. Like you said, it does get addictive. I couldn't believe how many options I had, to the point where I was talking to Katie, who was my rep, and I just kept saying to her, I don't know, choose whatever you want. What does look good? And she's like, well, no, we can do this, this, and this. And I was like, actually, I want this one. And she showed me, what about this? I want that one. Oh my God, I can't do this. Just pick it, Katie. And she did a great job. But when we come back, we'll talk all things trends, advice, etc. So that way you can have a little bit more guidance here. And guys, you can actually get your heads out of this place that I don't want to say on air, and maybe build a suit that looks great on you. In the meantime, go to BeRememberWeddings.com. Be Remember is our sponsor of this show, so please go and check out them for everything: photo, video, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and even more. Go to BeRememberWeddings.com. Give us a call here at 508-625-7142, or even send us an email at info@BeRememberWeddings.com to talk to one of our amazing specialists. Our goal, just like this show, is to give you an amazing wedding day, and we do that by providing you wonderful information. Our wedding specialists know everything you need and can help build a customized package for your day. And just one more time, go to BeRememberWeddings.com. And this is going to cut me off, but that is totally fine. In just a few seconds, we're going to be back here in the wonderful world of weddings talking to Keith from Mr. G's Tuxedos. My name is Daniel Krikorian, and we'll see you back here in just a few. Thanks, guys.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take, and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. I am so happy to have you here. My name is Daniel Krikorian, and we are talking all things men's formal wear today with Keith from Mr. G's Tuxedos. Now, before I get right back into that, I do want to let you know this show is brought to you by Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding experience. Please go to BeRememberWeddings.com or give us a call at 508-625-7142. We're always happy to talk to you about your amazing day, and our wedding specialist can build a customized package from photo, video, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and more. Go to BeRememberWeddings.com or give us a call at any time. We're going to go back into the show here because we are dedicated to bringing incredible resources, especially to you men out there, because men are a bit lost in the wedding space. Well, I feel like we're a little bit lost in the attire space, maybe even life, but mostly in the wedding space. So we are going to get into all things trends and really talk about some advice heading into formal wear. Before we do that, though, and I'm actually going to skip back to that in a way, Keith, because I want to talk about how you go through building that custom suit for them, because I think that's something that, we really want to talk to guys about how to get that correct fitting suit, right?
Yeah.
So what's the whole steps? What's the process in this?
Well, it first starts with education.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they've never been taught. They don't know. And quite frankly, fashion isn't a big, up there with the guys.
Right.
They just wear what they're told or just grab anything and away they go.
Yep.
It makes it easy and functional, and that's all they want.
Yeah.
But when you step back and you look at when you look at somebody and says, "Wow, that looks nice." What are they at? What are you actually looking at?
Okay.
So you're looking at basically a lot of proportions. The jackets usually fit well through the shoulders, but how does it fit through the waist? Sometimes if you get everybody wants a slim fit now, but sometimes a slim fit doesn't work because your hips aren't as wide as your shoulders, or whatever proportion it is, it doesn't always work. You look at your sleeve length, you look at the coat length, you look at your torso versus the leg length. Mm-hmm. So it's all proportion, and some people just, again, haven't been fit or even know what a fit looks like.
Right.
So,
right.
You see the European guys, and, those are the ones that have been, curated, for certain looks and styles and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Europeans are too short, but that's pushing the boundaries, but that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
But basically, I'll take the time, put something on, a couple trial sizes.
Mm-hmm.
I know where the cuff should be. I know where the sleeve length should be to have a little bit of cuff showing, on the formal wear.
Mm-hmm.
The pants should fit, tight but not too tight. Should have the little break at the cuff. So all those things. I'll stand back. I'll try a couple things on and just size them up and just see how they wear it. See how what they're comfortable in.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't mind spending money on good clothes. I've never, because again, once you're introduced to the difference, it then becomes evident how worth it is, right? You wear a custom suit and you go, not only do I feel good, I look good because everything is properly proportional. Especially when you have an awkward sized body. I'm a tall guy. I have lanky arms, I have very small hips as well, but I have massive thighs. So there's odd proportions here that if the pants don't look right, you're sitting there and you go, and they don't feel right either. I mean, they're tight and very tight, and everything nowadays is slim fit, and that does not work for me.
No.
My shoulders are wide. I mean, the seams are never where they should be if I were to buy a jacket off the rack. And we were talking about how I am that 44 long. And so it fits my shoulders properly, but now my sleeves are too long, right? Or now they're built for people who have a few extra pounds on, and I don't. So I want that to be tight. I want that to look right. So yeah, I mean, that's all a big piece of this. And again, I think it's once you are shown the difference and why, a lot of materials have their price jacked up simply because of a logo.
Right.
But there's also an intrinsic value that comes with with higher end clothing. That clothing is meant to fit properly, not on most people, on you. So yeah, it's key.
No, it is, and there's so many options out there. My price ranges start with a very economical fabric. This is going into even a purchase a suit that's not a custom.
Yep.
So we got price ranges, and we fit whatever is comfortable, not only for your budget but also how you want to feel. Mm-hmm. So in the end, you're going to get a product that you're going to be very happy with. Mm-hmm. I'll go and I'll consult with people that will just have a whole closet full of clothes and they don't know what to wear. I'll go in and say, what, let's get the basics. We'll get a black, a gray, and a navy. Mm-hmm. Maybe a khaki, and we can kind of switch out so you get maybe you start off with 6 or 8 items. Mm-hmm. You add in a couple of shirts and now a sport coat, and now you have almost endless options between, mix and match tops. Mm-hmm. You do a casual with a dress up shirt, so, less is more.
Yeah.
You may spend a little bit more on quality, but you have less items, they give you more options.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll curate that with people, and they're really happy. They'll start with a couple of items, and then a month or two later or 6 months later, come up and get another couple of items. So it doesn't have to be done all at once.
Sure.
And you can do seasonal offerings.
Right. You don't have to buy a wardrobe.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. You build on that based on what you can afford and what you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you see any specific trends that are occurring right now in this industry, whether it's from men's formal wear overall or weddings? What are you seeing out there?
Oh boy, that's an open-ended question. Formal. Well, I'll start with the proms because those are that's the here and now. We're in that season, and you got the kids who never really done much before. They're going very conservative, and then you got the ones that are the class clowns, and the ones that are very very out there. They want to push the limit. Give me the craziest thing you got out there. Yeah. And they're the ones that wear hats and sunglasses, and you come to the prom in their formal wear. So so it's the colors. Bold colors. You got velvets. You got paisleys. That are out there.
Are you seeing a lot of heather, like a heathered look?
Not so much.
Not for proms?
No.
And the only reason I ask is I went into Nordstrom the other day, and this is the first top that I saw, or suit jacket, that really had this heathered look to it, and I fell in love with it. I went in the other day, and it seemed like a whole rack was filled with them. And so I didn't know if that was something that was coming in style or how it was, because it's kind of in between that tweed and the heathered look. Right. So I wasn't too sure.
So the mainstream rental in the fashion is pretty much, basic, in terms of like color and, kind of crazy patterns. When you get into the custom, you got, some of the tweeds, and you get some of the blends, you get some of the nailhead, patterns or fabric. So, you have a lot more options because those are the people that are aware, and they have a closet full of things and they want something different. So that gives them, more of options because of the fabric selections.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
you have one now, so now you're looking for it. So,
right.
So
I am.
your eyes are now open.
Yes. So, maybe, right? It's like Grand Theft Auto back in the day. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But
So, a little education goes a long way because once you show somebody this is how it should look, they're going to be looking at other people and comparing what they learned and what they know to what other people don't know. So, and that's where I really kind of specialize in.
Try to open their eyes.
Help them understand how to wear it, what they're wearing, and what to look for, and just to kind of now feel why you look good. Well, you look good because of these things. So it's kind of an awareness that I like to help them understand.
Do you see any different wedding trends that are occurring right now?
A lot of times it's just Pinterest is a double-edged sword.
Yes.
It's great because you have all these different looks and fashions and everything like that, but a lot of them are just either one-off customs. They're either from Europe that are 2 or 3 years away from mainstream. Yep. That is almost frustrating for or there's the stuff that's a one-off bespoken type of design.
Right. Right.
So
right.
They see these $1 million athletes out there with these how they style.
Yes.
And they say, I want that. I said, well, you can't really afford that. You really don't make it. What's your second option, right? So
it takes 6 months to design it out in Italy, ship it over.
Oh yeah. So, that's kind of what we're faced with as far as trends go. So, we got to kind of blend that together with what's really, manage your expectations. Yeah. It's a good word to use because so that trend
find that all too often with Pinterest.
Yeah. So, so that's a problem with just what's out there to line up with what we can really get.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break one more time here. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about advice for formal wear as well as coordinating with the bridal party too, making sure all of you have a beautiful aesthetic for the big day. We've talked about in this past, it changes the photos, but a great place to get a wedding photographer is Be Remembered Weddings, our sponsor of the show. So please go to BeRememberedWeddings.com to find all things photography, videography, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and more, or give us a call here at 508-625-7142 to speak to one of our amazing wedding specialists to build a customized wedding package for your big day with anything and everything you need. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com. My name is Daniel Krikorian. This is the Wonderful World of Weddings, and we're going to be back here in just a few, speaking with Keith again on all things tuxedos from Mr. G's Tuxedos. We'll talk to you in just a few seconds. Thanks, guys.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel, and I'm so happy to have you here. We are having a wonderful conversation. We'll try that one more time, about all things men's formal wear. Now, that is not something Beer Remembered offers, our wonderful sponsor of the show, but we do have this incredible new preferred vendors section where Mr. G's Tuxedos is listed. So if you go to beerrememberedweddings.com and check out our resources page, you can go ahead and find all of the amazing vendors that we do not supply. But if you're looking for photography, videography, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and more, go to beerrememberedweddings.com, send in one of our inquiry forms, and talk to one of our amazing specialists today to help build a customized package from everything that you could possibly want to make a wonderful wedding experience. Now, we're getting right back into our conversation. We're talking all things men's formal wear today, but we're going to wrap it up today by really talking about how to coordinate with the bridal party, because you said you had a whole procedure here.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I try to do. So there's kind of two ways of looking at things. One is, we got to coordinate with the wedding party, but also it's all about the photos.
Yes.
The reason why we do this is to make these memories last forever.
Yes.
And, you can't lose sight of those details.
Mm-hmm.
And that was taught early on. It says, we do this basically for photos. Other than that, they're just wearing clothes.
Well, and I'm going to tell you something too. The high resolution of these cameras right now, they're so amazing that they are picking up everything. And I'm going to tell you another part of this too. Most people don't know what makes a good photo. I found that time and time again. But when you're dressed properly, it makes a huge difference. And when people see the coordination of colors, the well-dressed individuals with customized suits, or even just suits that match their body types, right? The picture looks that much better. And people don't know why, but that's why. You look at it, it is that much better for everyone.
It is. And, you can tell 10 people, ask 10 people what they like about it. They tell you what they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell you what they do like.
Yes,
Exactly. And that's, I think, is something well done. If they can't pick out one thing that they like,
mm-hmm.
it's just a feeling
mm-hmm.
and
mm-hmm.
just a look, that kind of makes sense.
Yes.
But if you pick one thing that's wrong, boy, they're going to focus in on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, to that point is when I do my consult with my bride and groom,
mm-hmm.
We come in and I say, what's the theme? Kind of set them up as a formal cathedral church, outdoor picnic event. We kind of
mm-hmm.
break it down to that point, beach wedding, whatever, and then we say, okay, what are the colors involved? What are your themes?
Mm-hmm.
We start with that, and that kind of shapes what the look is going to be about, gives it a theme, and when I ask what the girls' colors are going to be wearing for the bridesmaids, I'll try to pick a contrasting color. If it's pink or blue, whatever, I'll try to go either navy to contrast that or gray.
Mm-hmm.
Black goes with everything.
Yep.
Formal events, no matter what. So you can't go wrong with black.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'll start off with, okay, the groom is by himself. He can wear, the same coat,
mm-hmm.
different
mm-hmm.
tie, or if he wants to do something different, he's by himself with the bride. So
mm-hmm.
don't have to match that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a role.
Mm-hmm.
The role, he's the bride and she's the groom. Now, the groomsmen pair up with the bridesmaids. That's their role,
mm-hmm.
is to honor, their friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, we pair them up, so the bridesmaid do the groomsmen to somehow pick up an element of color with the bridesmaids. So as they are paired up, they match
mm-hmm.
somehow. And then what I like to do is, this is kind of what I like to see,
mm-hmm.
not always a common thing, but I like to pair the parents, specifically the fathers. We look at the parents as distinguished guests.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to play the part. You know, they need to be elevated. The look needs to be more elevated than a guest.
Yep.
Because they're special. You know, they're not in all the photos. They're in a selective few, especially with, you know, just their kids.
Yep.
But they're not in group shots typically. And what I like to do is keep the fathers neutral as well. Because you got the mothers of the groom and mother of the bride. Sometimes the father of the groom walks the bride down. So he can't be wearing a fluorescent tie and that matches the bride, the mother of the bride.
Right.
You know, it's you know, I would say inappropriate. So he's going to be in half the photos at the church.
Yep.
In his role as a father, and then he's handing her off to the groom. So he wants to be kind of neutral as well.
Right.
So be some, you know, similarities and consistencies there. So I try to dress both fathers, father of the groom and father of the bride, similar. So now when you're at the reception, you know, you can pick out who's who. Who they may not know who the father is, the bride or groom, but they're going to know who's the father. Yeah, you know, so he's going to stand out amongst the crowd as well. So you know, I'll take it and break it down to that level. If there's an officiant, we'll do something that is a companion look. And if there's a ring bearer or maybe some ushers, you kind of define them by, it's usually a tie color or tie style. Yep. You know, so that's kind of, you know, my working model as I go through, you know, dressing the wedding party.
Now, one thing too, I had Kate Tobiasen on here, and she was telling me, because she's from J. Hilburn, and she was telling me how if you don't wear a tie, don't wear a tie, right? If you're the groom, I'm talking about. And I hate wearing ties. And so this was very welcoming to me. I was like, oh, wait a second here. I don't have to squeeze my neck. This is wonderful. I can actually breathe. Right. Awesome. Right. Do you take a lot of that into consideration? Do you have a lot of guys who even know what they want at this point, or are you guiding most of them?
Well, it's funny you ask. I had one guy that came in. He says, okay, I'm looking for a 2-button peak lapel side vent tuxedo with hacking pockets. I go, are you like shopping me or something? Is it, you know, who knows that? Yes. You know, yes. So come to find out, he and a bunch of his friends are all in the age of they're getting married. Yeah. So what they've done is everybody that goes in a wedding, they have bought their tuxedo. So half of the guys have already owned their tuxedos. Right. So he wanted to make sure the guys that weren't going to buy could rent the same style, so they didn't look out of place. So he was one of the few that actually knew what he wanted. Everybody else is like, okay, I don't know, what do I want? They look at the group, I mean, the bride and say, okay, what are we wearing?
I was going to say, right? Does the bride have a major influence on you, right? Does she come in and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for all my groomsmen to look like?
Most of the time. And then, you know, if you come in, keep an open mind, and, you know, they may come in thinking they want one thing. I explain a couple things, break it down, and all of a sudden, boom, it's a totally different look. You know, and I understand, and I show them. I have photos of what looks good and what doesn't look good. And what do you want to look? You know, so you know it's easy to kind of persuade them, you know, into the area that, and they trust me. I mean, you know, being the expert, right? You know, I've done this a bunch of times, so they do trust me.
So just to wrap things up, too, are you in the same location as Gigi?
Yes.
Oh, you are. And so where's that located?
So we're in Norwood. We're in the Winsmith Mills at the 61 Endicott.
Oh, very nice.
And, you know, it's a big mill complex, so it does get a little, you know, confusing because the signage is poor, but we do share the same suite. I have one corner, and then, you know, it really works well because if she's consulting with a bride at a time, you know, she said, well, what colors are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking this. She'll go over and I'll give her a mannequin of, you know, a navy blue or a gray, and she'll stand there in the mirror next to, you know, her dress before she makes the decision. So, you know, having a shared suite like that is really beneficial.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. And so do you have the same sign-up process that Gigi did where people have to book online for you?
Right now, our model is by appointment only. Yep. So we do share a website as well. You know, she runs the website, so it would be bostonbride.net. Yep. You know, I have a page, you know, on that she manages and maintains.
She just gave you a page.
Yeah, they get a page.
Here you go.
I get a page, and meanwhile, you know, here's extensive, you know. So, but you know, we can book appointments there as well. Awesome. You know, and we have hours, and I have even my e-catalog that brings us to the tuxedo book that I work from. We also have a link to the J. Hilburn custom clothes, so we can go on there and see all the inventory on pretty much everything I have.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Now you have different social medias than Gigi, right?
Yes, so it would be Mr. G's Tuxedos. I have that on Instagram.
Were you about to say she's running them? But
she's the master of my world right now. She has full control. Can I say this, honey?
James, you may have to cut that out.
Can I just close all of that?
Yeah, right.
No, but she runs it. It's like I don't have a Twitter.
You don't have a Twitter?
Maybe I do have a Twitter.
You should get a Twitter. No.
So yeah, but any content I have that she posts. So
is it Mr. G's Tuxedo for social?
Yes,
it is. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. All right, so everyone go check you out. I'm assuming Instagram, Facebook, that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean each platform may have a different variation. How they do that, but Mr. G's Tuxedo is the common.
And then Boston.
name.
Is there a different website, or is it bostonbridal.net?
BostonBride.net.
BostonBride.net.
Yeah,
Thank you.
BostonBride.net.
Wonderful.
That funnels everything to us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Keith. I really appreciate you coming on here.
Pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. I hope Keith gave you a great amount of insight. Please go to bostonbride.com to find Mr. G's Tuxedos. And also, we are on the preferred vendors list, or Keith is on our preferred vendors list on BeRememberedWeddings.com. And just one more time, if you want all of your services for photo, video, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth, and more, go to BeRememberedWeddings.com. They are our sponsor of this show, and we're so happy to have you here. I really hope that Keith was able to give you some great insight. But if you still have questions, please go to BeRememberedWeddings.com/podcast. You can actually inquire and let us know your question or story, and I can bring amazing people on like Keith again to help answer those questions. But thank you. You answered all my questions, and I mean,
thank you.
We're a lost group over here, the men of the wedding world. So thank you guys for joining us. We hope to see you again soon, right here on the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.